Hey, Anthropomorphic Nerd here today, and today I'm going to be blind reacting to something that your favorite Canadian YouTuber A recommended me to do. It's the Engoodening of No Man's Sky. But first of all, I should say that I am going to apologize already for the excessive amount of reverb that you're going to hear in this room from me. It gives me that God appeal, that voice, that booming voice from the clouds and the heavens above. That's what you're going to hear throughout this entire video. So sorry if you're annoyed by that. Nothing I can really do to fix that. It's just the room that I'm recording in, and yeah. Also, number 2. The reason I am recording in this room and not in my chair at home is because I am in someone else's house. And I'm recording on a bed, their bed. And okay. Now I know that sounds bad, but let me assure you, I did not break into this person's house. I am just happened to be I'm dog sitting for them, so I couldn't record at my actual house, so I'm recording here instead. I promise this blind reaction would be out soon. I mean by Sunday, and since I had to do this over the weekend, I can really only do it here, and it's better for me to do it in this room so that I don't get any interruptions by the dogs that I'm watching, and anybody who any of the neighbors, just so they don't in the way. Also, I don't have my other headphones. I got my recording equipment, but I didn't bring my headphones because I couldn't pack them. Not because I lost them or anything, but they'll be back next episode. I assure you that. So that's why I have this blank white wall I'm recording behind, and that's all I really have to say. So I think I explained myself pretty well for why this is not my room. And this is not my house. And that's why I'm here. Yes, definitely. No foul play intended. Okay. This episode is about an hour long. It's called The Engoodening of No Man's Sky by Internet Historian. Check him out. Description down below. I don't know what this is about. I suppose it's about a game, but probably never heard of it before. Or I have. But, with that being said, let's just begin the video. Starting it off in 3, 2, 1, play.
Sponsored by that game everyone loves.
Alright.
Scientists are racing to unlock the secrets of the cosmos. Questions we once thought impossible to answer are within our grasp. Where does the sun go at night?
Yeah, I've always wondered that too.
Related to science?
Is it?
If the universe is so big, then why won't it fight me?
As we look further into the universe, we see light from distant stars, eons old, perhaps hundreds, even thousands of miles away. Hold on, can I get a zoom in on that?
You bet I can. This is one of the world's most powerful telescopes. Initiating 6 times zoom.
Can this baby do 7?
I can do you one better. Maneuvering to 8 times zoom.
Pressurizing. Holding steady. I can see it. Unblur.
Sorry, my mouse is on my bed. On the bed.
Get me 8.5 times.
You're a madman.
Upscale it to 4K.
The helium tanks will go critical.
Opening
over a telescope?
Hold it steady.
Why is there helium
Uncropping and increasing aspect ratio. Now, punch it. There it is. Life on another world. And to think, we owe it all to one indie development studio. Hello Games.
Hello Games created life on another planet?
Let's start at the beginning.
What?
Yeah, it's rewind time. Okay, the year is 2009.
That was Samuel Jackson in the
Guildford,
beginning.
England. There's a man named Sean Murray, and he's
You didn't
just
get that
founded
right.
a company called Hello
not.
Games.
Sean and the boys are working hard on a brand new IP called Joe Danger.
I think I've played that game
2010
before.
AD.
Not gonna
The
lie.
game just came out. It's a success.
They're a small team, but they are ambitious.
There's 4
Let's
guys.
do something bigger, said Sean. Let's reach for the stars. How
No
about
pun
Joe Danger
intended.
2? Brilliant. It's
Even
2012.
better.
Joe Danger 2 has just come out.
But that one doesn't perform as well.
I
We
can
need to do
understand why
something
it's a sequel
even bigger
to a
than
simple
Joe
game.
Danger 2. Joe Danger 3? No. Even more
Yes.
out of this world. Something no man has done before.
Joe Danger 3.
Joe Danger the mobile game?
Yes! And that came out in 2014.
Nice.
Seriously, guys, biggest thing you can think of.
No,
I
I'm just a
can't.
stock image, dude. Why
I
don't you
just-
think of something?
Sean
can't.
pondered for a moment, then
Nice.
turned and looked wistfully into the mirror. Reflected back was the visage of Neil
There's a-
deGrasse Tyson.
There's
If
a
you're
mirror
going to
over
make a
there.
space game first person, it's never been done before. How about that? I'm going up in orbit to repair the Hubble telescope. So that's not a knife. Who are you going to have sex with? How much microwaves are coursing through your body now?
Planet, said Murray. Space game. Procedural generation. Planet. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, we all agree. So they set to work,
I
cobbled
guess.
together a prototype, and by VGX 2013, they are ready to announce another new IP.
No Man's Sky.
Check it out.
Check it out.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Land. No Man's Sky.
Oh, this is special.
Doesn't actually look that bad.
This is special.
I can't tell if that's pretty groundbreaking for 2014 or not. It's kind of iffy on me. Oh wait, I have
It's
seen that game
2014,
before.
and it's
Never
E3
mind.
hype time.
I have seen that game before.
No Man's Sky has promised to be a game like no other. A practically boundless experience vibrant with life and color and things to explore. What's over there? You'll have to be the one to discover it. And then, wow, look at that big f***ing dinosaur, holy shit. And a moment later, we're in space having a battle amongst a giant fleet. Claim a planet as your own. Explore the galaxy with your friends.
Okay, that's it. This is going to be the best game ever, you guys. It even won awards for its hype. And it will release in June 2016.
Well, there's got to be something bad about it because that's the only
The
reason
hype
they
train
make
was
the
officially
video.
loading up and ready to chug out of the station.
Just
At
like
every
Fallout
stop of the
76.
journey, there would be press junkets talking about the amazing scale of the game.
Sean Murray.
Spread across 18 quintillion planets. It's so vast that by the time you
That's a
finish
lot.
exploring it all, I would have 2 new videos
I
published.
can't even count
Sean
that
himself
high.
was doing the interviews. Because who is better to talk about the game than the lead guy himself? He went from interview to interview, and with each question, the answers he gave raised people's expectations of the game's scope.
Can you land on a comet? Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids. You could encounter other players.
Can you grief other players?
A little bit.
They're literally building your own like massively multiplayer world that's procedurally generated.
Sand planets like in June. Rivers. Walking sentinels. Hacking. So sophisticated that light diffracts through the atoms. They had to redevelop the whole periodic table to make it work.
What?
Kind
Even
of sounds a
Elon
little
Musk
too
was
good to be
hyped for it.
true, but I have a feeling like it's not.
2 years go by. It's early 2016, and that hype train is really moving now. Perhaps one of the biggest in video game history. Reddit was shoveling most of the gamer fuel. Skeptics and naysayers are treated as ballast and thrown from the carriage doors.
9/10.
Pre-orders open, and they are doing very well. The date is booked in. Some are even
Yeesh,
taking the
that's a
day
lot.
off work. So much hype there is that... Uh-oh. Jason Schreier
too
of the
much?
soon-to-be defunct Kotaku is about to spoil the party. He announces a delay. From June 2016 to August.
Oh my god.
Liar, the incensed
Liar.
audience cries. Please be quiet, they said. And death threats too.
How one
But he was 100%
someone says one
right.
thing
A
on
week
Twitter
later,
or
the delay is
whatever,
officially
and
announced.
it ruins everything.
Sorry, lads, we need more polish, said Sean in his usual accent. To that, Sean received some
Reminds
death
me
threats
of
too,
Security
by the way,
Breach, Five
although he
Nights at
didn't take them
Freddy's.
as seriously or go to the police. Yet.
But you know what? Take as much time as you need, Scott.
Relatively obvious.
And crew.
But the impatient crowd relaxed a bit and said, "Fine, we will wait. But we expect a level of polish no man has ever seen."
Preferably the one in the bottom right-hand corner.
Shadow Man here. Have you heard of Raidy Shady? My wife died in a plane crash. Hey, let's get serious for a moment. Raid isn't just a game with 15 million downloads in the last 6 months.
I'm just gonna skip past this.
It's extremely well reviewed on download now, kids, using the link in the description below. You can get an extra 50k silver and an epic champ.
I'm not listening to a minute of Raid Shadow Legends.
Wait,
so sorry guys.
Mom's dead?
Raid Shadow Legends.
That was like a minute and a half of Raid Shadow Legends.
So let's talk about the team in charge of all that polishing.
No.
It's small. Tiny. In fact, I haven't been able to find a smaller team behind a AAA release. All of these expectations are on the shoulders of just 6 people, expanding to a team of 15 by the end of production.
Even better.
Oh god.
July. It's just a couple of weeks until the release date. Whatever the state of the game by now, however much it's finished, that's what's going out. The Hello Games team celebrates with this iconic
I'm pretty
image.
sure I saw that game in GameStop once.
They're exhausted.
No shit.
Look at what video game production does to a man.
Yeah.
God, what's wrong with your face?
Nonetheless, they continue, working on the
Anybody
day one
else think this
patch.
background's so
And-
boring compared to my actual room?
Uh-oh. Sean, if your game isn't coming out for another 2 weeks, then why is there a box copy on eBay? That's right. It's a leak. Someone broke the embargo and is selling early access to the highest bidder. And the bids start rolling in. It reaches $1,300 US. Sold to
I
some
would
guy
call
with the
him
Reddit handle, Damien.
something, but
He
you
gets
know
his
what?
hands on
That's
it
really
and starts
smart and really
uploading footage
clever.
to YouTube and Daily Motion.
And of course he does.
Said Sean and Sony. Damien finished it a lot quicker than expected, but he gave it a decent review.
There are things I don't like, there are things I like, but at the end of the day, when I say to myself, what is this game supposed to be? This, what I'm looking at right here, this is what the game is supposed to be.
He noted a few problems.
It isn't even
but said he
released
was
yet, and
optimistic
you're
that
already
they would be
reviewing
ironed
it?
out
That's
with the
kind
day
of
one
sad.
patch.
It's kind of a... That's an awful thing to do, man.
Sean?
Not gonna lie.
It's another leak. Some retailers broke the official release date. Journalists too. And they
People
started
who
streaming
go to
playthroughs
jail
of
for
the
this
game.
and they just get away. Wait, God, wait.
Sony tried to DMCA all these videos, but their aim was terrible.
Round of applause, everyone. We've officially become No Man's Censored by Sony.
Our news story from earlier this week about No Man's Sky leaks has been hit with a copyright strike on YouTube.
They went bumbling around from platform to platform, just taking down any video that even talked about the leak or showed the trailer footage. But it was too late. The footage had people talking more skeptically about the game. Especially because there were no early review copies.
That's bad.
And it was looking like the weight of all these expectations had become too much. And the whole thing was about to give.
That is true. Like when you it is true. So like I'm just pause it right here. That is true because when if you ever wanted to play a game and you get it delayed, this never happened to me before. Mainly because I'm good with whatever I get whenever I go to buy a game. But if like you ever go to buy a game and you get like and they delay it for whatever reason, the expectations of people that like the reason they delayed it expect it to be so much better than the original, but it's not really going to be like that unless the actual person who made the game actually says it's going to be so much better than it was already previously. And just because like especially when they just said they were going to polish it, they didn't say they were going to add anything new, make it bigger, make it better. They just said they were going to polish it, so the expectations were kind of a little high. I will say I'm kind of more towards the game designers in this than the actual people, especially since they already broke into the game and was able to get it leaked early. So that's kind of a letdown, don't you think? I'm only doing this for 12 minutes. And let's go.
It's August. Everyone's here. We've all bought the game and we're fucking hyped. Here we go, lads.
Woo!
Oh dear lord, it isn't finished. Hello, Sean. It is me, the auditor of games.
That's a letdown.
I used to work at an
How is it
astronomy
not
lab.
finished?
Don't worry
It doesn't
about
have
that.
a story. I
It
don't
seems
think
like
it
you've
does.
made a lot of promises. Promises that you have not kept. Let's go through the checklist. Have you got any large-scale joinable space battles?
Nobody would want that.
Ringed planets?
No. No.
Fine. Well, at least let me play as a trader.
Some may call this junk. Me, I call them...
No.
Those sand planets from June look nice. Think I might... Please, Sean, there must be rivers.
No, it's not.
Animals interact with each other in the environment?
No. No.
Packs of walking sentinels, Sean.
No.
I'm literally crying right now. Should I even ask whether I can
Okay,
play as a
that's
space
kind of a
pirate?
letdown. So you're telling me that all the things that he promised were going to be in the game are not there? Come on, he's not a politician.
Factions
He's a
with
game
different
designer.
attributes.
You picked the wrong house, fool! Oh!
Fly between star systems manually.
But nobody's actually done it yet.
If I can maneuver like in
Or-
the trailer, I'll still be happy.
No.
Well, day-night
Not
cycles
even close.
determined by the orbit of the sun.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Land on an asteroid, radio chat, and name your shit, hacking, portals, all that stuff about the elements, Sean.
No.
This is not good, Sean.
You didn't make any of it?
Very
That's a
not
letdown.
good.
And
That
ironically,
must have
the only
pissed a
bugs
lot
this
of
game
people off.
doesn't have are the butterflies in the demo.
Buried buildings, aggressive emojis, tractor beam malfunctions, animal husbandry, oil slick world, raining grass, retarded animals
Raining
doing
grass.
retarded things.
Raining
Ships
grass.
interiors disappear. First person mode as a gun. That's not how flying works. That's my only means of transportation.
So everybody
Leaving
holds
the
a gun
planet.
like
Take
this.
off. Really take off. Holes in the map. Holes in my graphics card. Whole lot of nothing from down here. Textures bugging out. Animals bugging out. Animals breakdancing. Look at these busy hands.
This
Hello.
is worse than 76.
And a couple of unrequested ejector
Like,
seats.
by a lot. Whee!
Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I get the picture. No, wait, poor graphics rendering. Some can't even start the game. Frame rate issues, constant crashes. Major publications are having trouble playing the game on their machines. Even the best 1080 Ti's are stuttering.
Ouch.
Alt-tabbing? That's a guaranteed crash. Desktop notifications? That's a crash. Playing the game? That's a crash. Changing options in the game without restarting? You'll get this. And if you got the pre-order version with the bonus spaceship,
I don't actually know how
you
many
might
people
have
had like
problems.
professional gaming
Your special
PCs back
ship
then.
already comes with a
You?
hyperdrive
Sorry,
inside
I
it.
kicked the stand.
Great, right? No, because you have to craft it in order to finish the tutorial missions. And if you
Oh,
haven't finished the tutorial
let down.
missions, you can't leave the star system. So whoops, until they patch it,
Even
you're
worse
stranded.
letdown. You're stranded.
That's why I give my kids No Man's Sky. That fool.
I like the play on words though, like No Man's Sky, No Man's Land. Get it? Get it?
Ah, my ship's in bits!
Jacksepticeye.
Thank you.
Jack.
Just a quick
We
note
brought
about
Jack
how
in.
high
That's nice.
expectations were for this game, and just how many people bought it on release, myself included. Over 3/4
you bought it too.
million purchases on Steam at launch. It's the single best-selling game
I
on
don't know how much it
PlayStation
costed
Store
at
that
Steam,
month.
but probably
And the
wouldn't
large
buy it at
proportion of
Steam.
people who bought it in the hopes of playing with their friends, well, you're in for a surprise.
Just
This
like
one
Fallout
is
76.
a literal game changer.
Is it even possible to meet up with your friends in No Man's Sky? The answer is absolutely yes, it's possible.
On multiple occasions,
Highly
Sean said
unlikely.
it was definitely in the game.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah.
Can you run
Yeah.
into other people, other players on the game?
That's like,
Yes.
But
yeah.
then just before the release, Sean
That means
posted
no,
this
by the
cryptic
way.
tweet.
To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not a multiplayer game. Please don't go in looking for that experience.
Isn't
Oh,
that
what?
what he said it
So
was
there's no multiplayer
in the
function.
first place?
But then the next line contradicts that.
Because the chances of two players ever crossing paths in a universe this big is pretty much zero.
So it is
multiplayer.
possible.
You just have to overcome this fighting
It's
each other hurdle.
Just unlikely.
me there's a chance.
Right? No,
I guess.
it's more confusing
No.
than that, because the box doesn't mention online play, just network features. And the collector's edition had its online play icon stickered over. So customers are going, which one is it, Sean? Just tell us.
peel
if
it back
has
on the box.
multiplayer
What the
or
fuck
it
the
doesn't
hell's
have
this?
multiplayer. Sean wouldn't give any answers. But after hundreds of thousands of purchases, people soon took it upon themselves to find out. Despite the claims that it would be
If he's not gonna do it, then I'll do it myself.
On the very first day, two people noticed they were only 4 star systems from one another, and they met up on the same planet in a live stream. Oh dear.
That's funny.
Our streams are exactly lined up. If you go look at my stream, we're looking at the exact same area right now. If you don't.
And he can't see him.
That's the same spot, and they can't see each other.
I'm alone!
That settles it. It's not multiplayer because it's so big. It's not multiplayer
Imagine reaching out and
because
just
it's just not
going
fucking
through
multiplayer.
your hand. That's what it'd probably be like.
And this led to quite a revolt. What did Sean have to say about all this?
So amazing. Two
okay.
people found each other on the first day.
That has blown my mind.
So why can't we see other players in game?
Wow, so many of you playing.
Yeah, Sean, but why?
Truly amazing. My mind is blown.
Right out the window. Just be like.
So what's the game actually like then?
Is it any good?
You don't even know what your own character looks
a
like.
difficult thing to say.
Well, it certainly is stylish and
Is
pretty.
the game good?
And there are a lot of places to explore.
I don't know.
But that doesn't mean there's much to find.
That's funny.
In fact, the game boils down to a very simple loop. Hold down the trigger to pick up resources, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. Hold down the trigger, deal with a full inventory, leave the planet, go to another planet, deal with a full inventory, get an upgrade, leave the planet, go to another planet. That's it. $60, ladies and gentlemen.
Refuel your multi-tool,
$60.
refuel your life support, refuel a separate part of your multi-tool that shoots bullets instead of the mining beam, refuel your launch thrusters. It's busy work that makes it look like you have something to do. It's not real.
How dare you?
It's like actual
What followed
work.
was one of the most dramatic
Like you wanna
crashes in player
survive.
numbers in gaming history. Sales in the UK fell by 81% in the second week. Concurrent players on Steam dropped from 212,000 in August to just over 2,000 by September and fewer than 1,000 by October.
And what followed that was perhaps the biggest pylon in gaming history.
I mean, Sean's already got
Reviewers
your
on
money.
YouTube panned the game.
What are you gonna do?
Fuck's sake! You done fucked it up!
I had no hype, and I can tell you that, even without that disappointment, this game is hot garbage.
Has anyone coined Sean Mourinho yet?
Numerous times within the first 2 hours of the game, I kept saying, this is it, fuck this shit.
Reviewers in the media were almost as harsh.
Devastating realization that most of the crafting, combat, and other activities you do on and between those planets ranges between bemusing and outright bad.
The criticism was deafening. And a lot of it really
A lot of
funny
people
and creative.
screaming his
Crobycat
name.
made a video that captured the sentiment of that day, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out.
So people are furious. The game is boring, and soon people discover that complaining about the game is actually more fun than playing it.
Wait, I'm now 3.5 hours into the tutorial, pretty much.
So they started
Yeah,
complaining
that's what
about
I
it like
do.
they were grinding for an achievement.
This sucks. Fucking Minecraft in space.
Many people made compilations of all the unfulfilled promises. One guy on the subreddit compiled a big list of all
I
the
still
missing
can't
features.
tell if I'm close
Front
enough to
page.
my microphone or
Got a
not.
defense for No Man's Sky? Enjoy your downvote. In fact, the entire No Man's Sky subreddit was in such disarray it had to be locked.
Ouch.
So by the end of the month,
That's a
Metal was like
letdown.
scrolling through a bowl of Cheerios. By October, it was one of the worst rated games on Steam, with an aggregate of mostly negative from more than 70,000 reviews. The outrage at the game was
Ouch.
headline news for weeks on dozens
Ain't
of
that a
games
kick
and
in
news
the balls?
publications.
I think I
And
said
the
that in the
price on
last
eBay
episode,
and
too.
Amazon and secondhand at GameStop was crashing through the floor. Please,
I actually
no
saw
more.
that game
But
at
the beatings
GameStop.
had only
Like, I
just
didn't
begun.
buy it.
The demo planet was data mined and found to be, of course, totally scripted and not randomly generated at all.
I've just got to pick one of these at random. If anything horrible goes wrong, just keep in mind that I've not been here before.
It wasn't
It's
some
not been here
level that we
before.
built or something like that, even though I think it looks quite
What
nice.
about the
in places.
updates? When are we gonna get
People
to the
watching this would
updates?
wonder why you're showing this
area again? Like, what's so special about demoing the game on this planet?
Oh, no, it's just a place that looks nice.
No. Bad
Just
Murray.
I could have ended the demo with some, you know, pre-scripted crazy thing that would happen. You know what I mean? The normal thing of like, and then a monster emerges from behind the mountains.
Yeah, like a shocking boom. Like, something that like, it's like what is it? I learned in English class. It's like something that attaches to your
This
reader,
is false
just pulls them
advertising,
in.
they say.
Needs
And angry
something like
customers
that.
start screaming out a lawsuit.
At the end of a game. Like, you ever
On
seen the
September
trailer for any
28th,
video
the
game?
ASA busts through the door and goes, "Yep, too many complaints. We're going to investigate." But then soon after, the ASA cleared them of any legal wrongdoing. Technically, the only thing they're interested in is what's on the back of the box, what's on the store page, and what's on the Steam page. So it's technically not false advertising. But of course, technically not illegal doesn't mean much to an angry audience. October 28th,
Yeah.
Hello Games Twitter
Probably
is
still
hacked.
spit on him in the
The hacker
supermarket.
posts, No Man's Sky was a mistake, and is shitting on the game in the replies. Turns out Sean didn't use two-factor authentication on his LinkedIn, and that's how they got in. They also sent discrediting emails to journalists, which they knew would rile people up if published. Some people even show up to their offices to take photos and knock on the door, even at night and on the weekend. They posted empty pictures of the
Not gonna
office,
go away.
so naturally out of context, this started rumors that Hello Games simply took the money and ran.
Damn,
This in
that's
addition to
sad.
numerous bomb and death
I
threats
feel kind of
during that
bad for them
period.
for that, but
Those
I mean,
ones Sean
still.
did have to take seriously.
Regular intervention from police and Scotland Yard and things like that.
And while Sony didn't quite throw them under the bus, it was more like a gentle push under a minivan when Sony president Shohei Yoshida admitted
Funny.
that Hello Games did not have a great PR strategy for No Man's Sky. The press took the ball with that one and ran.
Did Sony
But
like
despite all of
buy
this,
Hello
all
Games?
of the negative press,
Like,
they were
they're
actually
the
nominated
owners
for a
of
couple
it?
of awards.
Above
But by this
Sean.
point,
You know
Murray
what I
and
mean?
the other members of Hello Games were so downtrodden and so sure they weren't going to win that they opted to go elsewhere for dinner.
It's time to jump off the
And
roof,
the
my
Innovation
friend.
Award goes to No
Funny
Man's
enough.
Sky. Oh, bro.
Well done.
This lovely trophy going once.
Whoops.
I'm going to set this on the behalf of Hello Games, and congratulations to them. And now I'm going to walk off stage like I planned that whole thing.
By this point, you've got
Was
to
that-
feel just a little bit sorry.
Is that just a big joke or was that real? I honestly can't tell.
And then what followed that was the final straw
Final
for many. No particular incident, but a lack of incidents.
Be better if I had something.
Silence. Over 3 months of not
just
a
nothing.
damn word from No Man's Sky.
Wow. That's
Where
not
are they?
bad.
Where is my
They just
refund?
disappeared.
Where is Murray? Shouted into the void.
No refunds. Sorry.
The game was over,
No refundo.
and it was dead.
No. We no give money back. That's how it goes. Oh, I just realized something. There. My bad. I forgot about that. Oh, we're rewinding. Because it's
The year is
halfway through the
2000
episode.
AD. Woo! Sean has just graduated from university and is headed into the big wide world.
He rises up the ranks at a number of studios, eventually working as a technical lead for Black and
For
technical
Black.
director for Burnout 3.
Burnout 3. Never heard of either of those.
When
but,
Burnout's
you know,
developer is bought by EA, he is in his
EA,
late
I know
20s.
that. I love EA games.
And he and 3 of his buddies decide to leave and start their own studio, Hello Games. This was a risky venture.
They didn't know how big of
So we've done
failures
this
they were going to
incredibly
be in the
foolish
future,
thing of,
but
like,
you know,
quitting our
everybody.
jobs, and then we had to sit down and try and decide what the game was going to be.
Together, they create their first title, Joe Danger.
They work on this
Didn't we already go over all this?
game
Never mind.
day and night.
In fact, even once they were arrested in their own office because the police thought they were there to rob the place, because who would be working at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night? But they had to work that hard.
Okay,
Like any startup,
that
it
is
was a huge financial
weird.
and professional risk.
they had
That was
no
weird.
income. They were working in a tiny room above an old tile shop,
Yep.
living off
I
savings.
can understand that.
And to keep the project running, Sean even sold his house.
So we made a really tough and probably
That
at the
is
time seemed really foolish
unwise.
decision.
That is high risk, not
It's
so
almost
high
embarrassing
reward.
for me to talk about. I sold my house and just basically went all in and funded what we were doing, which is not something I would recommend anyone else.
I lived in
But
the
by
gaming
June 8th,
studio.
2010, they had done it.
Okay.
The game was good, and they could breathe a sigh
This
of
isn't
relief
even my
because on
house.
the very first day it hit the PlayStation Store, they made their money back. 2 years later, Joe
I
Danger 2 was
guess I
released.
can't add.
It was not the commercial success they had hoped for,
You know.
and they didn't want to just keep pumping out sequels. That was a trap big players in the industry had fallen into.
Joe Danger 14.
In his spare time, Sean started working on a prototype for a procedurally
The sequel
generated
to
game.
the last couple.
They took another gamble and scrambled to get a trailer out in time to present at VGX 2013. So the project is official now, and the pressure is on.
But I feel that's kind of sad. Like, they put their lives on the line for this one game, and something must have happened to make them make it, for it just to be so awful. Maybe it was just bad luck. Maybe all their luck had finally run out. Or it was just because, you know, they were, I don't, because they were persistent. They weren't lazy. So, I mean, what, was it just were they like politicians making promises they couldn't keep? Maybe they were. And maybe the community was expecting too much. You could point the finger at a lot of people in this. Not gonna lie.
Around this time, Sean is also looking to start a family.
You really
Concurrent
could.
to all this development, he would go on to have 3 kids. So the weight of responsibility is really piling on.
Sean, you
But
don't
their
even
hard
have a
work
house.
will pay off, as they're finally going to have a
You have
chance
a
for some
house.
R&R around Christmas.
Sorry, I'm really thirsty.
They
when
woke
I'm not
up
in
to
my own
find their
house.
homes flooded, their cars submerged, and their plans for Christmas Day very much ruined.
Bad news. Rain.
I did not see
Rain and
what the,
flooding in the south of England,
thing
right
was,
around the
but-
Hello Games office. They are completely inundated, and they return from their holidays to find laptops floating around at waist height. But some good news: they hadn't lost any data.
That's
so
a
they pull
letdown.
together.
How?
Soldier on.
How?
Development continues. So there
How
they are, working in a
persistent.
damp office.
Even
and
more
then
persistent
ding dong.
after a freaking natural
Who's at the door?
disaster. They get
It's
right
Danish
back up.
mathematician
on
Dr.
the saddle.
Johan Gillis. He's seen the
Who?
game. And
Mr.
he
Johan.
says, they are using my super formula in perfect English, and there is a potential for a lawsuit. Sean says they didn't, and he can
What?
prove it. So they have a meeting, and the claim is eventually dropped. Lawsuit evaded.
How would he know that? The
back to
game
work,
isn't made
guys.
yet.
Ding dong. It's Sky Television. They've seen the game.
You're
Sky-
infringing on our Sky trademark.
They said
Sky
in perfect
Television?
text-to-speech. They had succeeded in getting Microsoft to change SkyDrive to OneDrive, and they were about to give gamers No Man's 1 under threat of lawsuit. But this lawsuit
So you're telling me anything with a Sky in it, Sky TV can sue your ass? What? That's insane. I truly don't get that. Never mind. Just keep going.
didn't just go away. The threat loomed over them for the next 3 years, right up until the month
Long
before
time.
release. So they get back to work, and ding dong,
Ding dong
it's
again.
Sony with some good news for once.
And Sony.
We like your game, kid. We want to feature it front and center and make you a big star. This could mean millions of dollars in additional
So
revenue.
that's who
They
Sony
said,
was to them.
yeah.
Okay.
But along with it,
Yeah.
a lot of press for this game would
Yeah.
need to be done. Being a small team, they didn't have anyone for PR. They had their designers, they had their developers,
Producers,
and
yeah.
that was about it. So it's up to Murray.
Did
Sean's
appear
in his
to,
early 30s now. Not super young, but relatively young, and inexperienced for this type of media circuit. This deal with Sony put extra pressure on them.
12
It
years
set
after you got
deadlines.
college.
It's not that it's Sony's fault, but they're locked in now with much less flexibility.
Michael
So when
Scott.
May rolls around, and they have no option but to delay.
So this is
even
like
if
the
they
reasoning
wanted to
behind
ask
it
for an
all.
extra 6
Okay.
to 12 months of development,
I
which
get
they
that.
really need, it's probably too much to ask for.
Yeah,
so they extend
I
from
would
late
say that,
June
okay.
to August. Only
Okay, I
6
understand now.
weeks.
I'm getting it.
From here, you can predict what's going to happen to multiplayer and a bunch of other promised features.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now I understand.
So
He went through,
Scope of game, time. And here's the line which shows the reality of development.
I'm sorry for pausing again, but he does a really good job of, like, explaining it, because at the beginning, I didn't know half of what that ever was going on, and he did a good job of explaining what happened. Like, really gives me nothing to say at the end of the reactions to these.
Progress is steady and
It's
ends
probably going to
in
be an hour
August
long anyway,
2016. Now here is the line of player expectations. It should start out here and follow along the purple, but the overhyping trailer comes out and puts us way up here. In this trailer, it features a bunch of things that Hello Games thinks they're capable of having in the game by 2016. That's the first big mistake. Then it's announced for PlayStation, and it costs $60, and there's a collector's edition.
You see, nobody knows how hard it is
even
actually to make
bigger
this stuff.
mistake.
Like,
That puts
mainly
us
hard.
all the way up here. And I think this is the main problem, because price tags set expectations.
That is
For
true.
a $60 game, this was seriously barren and disappointing. Now, if they had put it out for $20 as an indie game or an alpha, no problem. But when they gave it the AAA treatment, people rightfully aligned their expectations.
Because when people
with other
make a
games in
game,
that category.
yes,
That
that's
is the main
exactly
reason
what I was
customers'
saying.
expectations
That's exactly
were
what
so
I was about to
skewed.
say. They were going to
Then
compare
Murray
it
went
to all
into
other games that are
exacerbating the
$60.
problem. Every time he mentioned a feature in the game, even
that's
in
the
passing,
thing, that's the upsetting thing
fans
about
set their expectations
Oh,
to
like that.
AAA heights for that feature. Now,
And the
some
hype
people
is
think the interviews are the
insane.
main problem.
Look how
in
far
my
away
humble
it
opinion,
is.
not so much. Most people never saw these interviews. It's not that rickety 12-foot ladder Sean's standing on that's the main problem. It's the 900-foot building he's perched it on in the first place. So the obvious solution here
Nice.
would be an
That's-
official
that's
statement.
some good imagery
Hey guys,
for-
look, don't expect a
whatever
10 out of
else
10.
it's called. I think I
expect
did.
more of a 5 out of 10. No, the publisher just sank an enormous investment of marketing and opportunity into the game.
What's wrong with you?
And that would be a huge
Yeah,
middle finger to them.
that's true.
The publisher isn't going to make you hype the shit out of your game, but you can't talk it down either. So,
Sony
kinda stuck up there.
Tony's
In
forcing
some
you
ways,
to hype
during
it
the
up.
interview, he tries to temper expectations, but it's limited.
Can you build a space station?
He's trying. Like, he's trying to balance
But
out
let's
the
not
hype,
gloss
but
over
it's
the
just not
interviews.
working.
Sean is a technical guy. He's a developer. He's also the introverted type. And the
some
big
pillows
lights and the
back
stuff
here.
on camera does not come naturally to him.
Is it super nerve-wracking to talk on stage at E3?
Yes.
Yes,
Hurt
my
definitely. I personally find going on stage at E3 like the hardest thing I've ever done. That's something that I would have had in a nightmare before. You know what I mean? It's that
Literally
kind
the
of
hardest
thing.
thing you've ever done?
Yeah.
A little bit of a twitch.
Still, he stepped up and took interviews for his game from 2013 to 2016. And the main thing people wanted to hear about were the features.
Can you have more than...
So every planet will
So,
be wormholes.
At what point?
This game took 3 years to
From
make.
these interviews, people took Sean
When
to
they
be
should have
a
had
liar,
4.
a Peter Molyneux or a chess club member out
That's
to sell
still
his
a
game
long
at
time to
whatever
make, I'm not gonna
reputational
lie.
cost. But I think the truth is more complicated than that. Sean and the team are indie developers working on a new IP. Their project and plans are constantly in flux. They have no idea how large chunks of the game are going to look, especially not a couple of years out from release. And crucially, Sean doesn't understand that something mentioned in 2013, even said in passing, is going to be seen as a promise in the year 2016, even if by then you've decided to cut it from the game.
Right.
For example, orbiting around the sun.
They has turned it out because the planet
Right.
is actually rotated on its axis.
This originally was in the game, but it caused the player too much confusion. It kept being reported as a bug in the beta, as people left the planet and then returned to find everything different. But nonetheless, into the line compilation it goes. So while they're still essentially formulating the game, the media all want a piece of Sean and to report on features first. Conversely, Sean thinks the reporters might help him to temper down things by emphasizing that Hello Games is an indie studio. But that is not how journalism is done.
Yep.
This is how journalism is done.
Can you customize the look of your character?
Sort of.
Full customization confirmed in No Man's Sky.
Yep. Like yellow journalism.
Able to create atmospheric particles that would diffract light at just the right wavelength.
Told you.
Writing only good things
from the community
and over-increasing expectations so that more people will read your articles.
You get served and things
That's
like
what journalists
that. But a rumor would surface from Reddit straight to the front page.
There's all this hype, and the project has increased in scope dramatically.
So they basically
and
doomed
keeps increasing
him
as the months go by, until a point. They are close to the deadline and have to delay, and the reality of what they can achieve in the little time remaining is staring them in the face.
You know who I blame? I blame Sony.
They know they're not going to be putting out a finished game.
But, you know, not a lot
They're
because I
worried.
actually like a lot of the stuff they do.
There's nothing more they can do. And the fear that they will disappoint the audience is growing on Sean and the team.
Makes you sweat in your sleep.
I worry about, like, disappointing people.
Upon release,
Nobody
all of these
likes
clips are seen as
disappointing
proof
people.
that Sean is a liar. And what doesn't help is his body language. I mean, it's kind of the body language of someone who is lying.
He's really nervous.
And this is why I mentioned he's an introvert.
Blinking a lot.
Remember, he's a
sweating.
technical lead.
Not a lot.
Actually, a really good one. But not a salesman. Cut him just a little bit of slack, because this is simply how he talks. Here are some innocuous questions, and he answers them honestly.
Lead producers on No Man's Sky?
Yeah, I guess I'm a developer on it. I suppose the
Playing with his hair.
Yeah, creator or something like that.
No, I really like making games. I don't necessarily love talking about making games.
I think you did a good job,
even though you know, you guys are very nice.
Mate, seriously.
Same body language. And Jesus Christ, they have him up on stage and in front of cameras and bright lights and on the goddamn
Right.
Colbert Report. Try keeping your nerve on
Yeah.
that. Nonetheless, free of that context, the clips have him cemented in the
dog.
community as a liar.
Sorry about that.
So the graph plays out right to release. And that graph, it's actually a track. And that track is what the hype train runs on. So it comes barreling up the hill. Instead of neatly pulling into the station, it comes crashing right through the roof. The disaster unfolds. They are absolutely shit on. So there were Sean and Hello Games, surrounded by the rubble of their former reputation. Punished Sean was at his lowest point, hated by the majority of the gaming community. But they were still alive, and they had made tens of millions of dollars. They were left with two choices. Take the money, start a new project, and be a pariah, a cautionary tale of the industry and hated by the gaming community forever. Or pick themselves up, get back to work, and with potentially no profit motive, finish the game.
It allowed me to do something that I've always done in difficult times, whether it was crappy bosses that I've dealt with before or crappy situations at school growing up. I got my head down, I sat in front of a computer, and I made games, which is what I enjoy.
They picked number 2.
Nice! We get to the updates.
Here's the plan. The team is assigned to fixing bugs and the most obvious problems. Go. Sean tells the team to stop reading all the overwhelmingly negative feedback on the game, and he reroutes all of it to his personal devices. Emails, forum posts, Google News alerts, player feedback,
threats.
It's all going directly to him now.
Right to
Then
Sean.
he starts breaking that down into data sets. People who haven't bought the
Just
game,
my pants.
people who have bought
Sitting
it
here
and
for
played
so
it for
long.
100 hours, people who have returned it, etc. Then he starts compiling those complaints into usable data, focusing on the people with the most sincere experience of the game. Then we start making a big laundry list of all the things that need adding and prioritizing. First thing to fix is that full inventory. Then community mod support. Then a third thing, etc., etc.
That's rather
This is going
smart.
to take an enormous
actually.
amount of work to pull off, and they're not going to make the same mistake twice. So they would need to sharply adjust their PR strategy. Anything they said right now, an admission of guilt,
I've made a severe,
would be met with criticism. Denial,
right?
It's not that bad, would be met with criticism.
Right.
Corporate speak. Well, we endeavored to make the best game we could, and we are proud of what we have. Would be met with criticism. Half
Anything
problems
would be met
have
with
been
criticism.
caused by speaking too much.
Except for one
So they were
thing.
going to do a complete 180.
Uno
Instead
reverse
of adding
card.
more fuel to the fire, instead of accidentally promising fixes that might also not be delivered,
Alien
they
anime
wouldn't
girls
speak
are
to the
coming.
press again.
Female traits.
Already in. I got it. I'm going in. No Man's Sky.
They were
Let's
going
go.
to speak to the community directly from now on. So they told the audience they were working on it and went completely silent. 1 day passed. No word. 2
That's
days.
funny.
A week. Have you heard from Hello Games? They just had this disastrous release. No, haven't seen them. I hope they're working on the game.
They've just been
2
gone
weeks.
this whole
Dude,
time.
are you working on this thing?
Gone.
Just ignore them. Just work. 3 weeks. Okay, what the fuck is going on?
WTF, it's locked.
A month. They took the fucking money and ran, didn't they? Don't say anything, it's not going to help. 2 months. 3 months.
That's been a long time, actually.
By now, most people were convinced that the game was abandoned. They had made their money. It's all over.
I would have too.
Then, after over 100 days of absolute silence...
100?
A tweet. Foundation. The first big patch. It is me, Sean.
The boombox.
Go away, Sean. I am mad at you. It has been too long.
Go
But
away.
I bring you gifts. It's accents.
The greatest gifts
It brought
of them
base
all.
building, new game modes, farming, camps, and freighters, as well as a lot
God, my nose is itchy today.
You will have to try harder than that, Sean, to win my love back. It still fell well shy of the promised game. Too little, too late. So Sean left, returned to his team, and got back to work. A few more months went by,
Too little, too
and
late.
then another tweet. Pathfinder.
What do we have here?
What the fuck? Oh, it's you, Sean. I bring you online base sharing, own
Correct.
multiple starships, starship specialization, multi-tool specialization and classes, permadeath modes, vehicles you can drive around in, and create racetracks for them too with time trials. Look at this. Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm still mad.
That's
and there's
pretty
still
cool.
a ton promised that isn't in the game yet. So Sean went away once more.
And he fixed it all.
A few more months went by. Knock, knock.
Knock,
Oh, it's you,
knock.
Sean, what is it now?
At the window.
I bring you an overhaul to the storyline.
Atlas
New
Riders.
worlds, crashed freighters, space combat, terrain editing, portals, procedural mission system, interstellar trading, and joint exploration. By now, people were really starting to warm to No Man's Sky again, and to Hello Games.
The game
'Cause
has
it's
in many
better
ways
now.
exceeded what was promised.
It's a substantially better game now.
No Man's Sky
course
is
it is.
back, baby!
People saw this was an honest effort to fix the game, and the number of employees working on it was growing, from a studio of 15 to 25. Sean
Ooh.
Murray and Hello Games social media also started becoming more active and engaging with the audience. The subreddit was flourishing once more.
Wonder what their next
the
big
price
game's
of the
gonna
game
be.
secondhand on Amazon, eBay,
I
and
honestly
GameStop
don't know.
was going up.
I mean,
then a few
I really
months
don't.
went by. Next, a really big patch.
8.3 gigabytes? That's a lot.
I just got goosebumps.
To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not fuck that. Here's the full and
No.
proper multiplayer experience. Ringed planets, third-person mode, character customization, a galactic atlas on an external website for the
Now
community.
this
vast
is what we
overhauls
want
to base
to see.
building and crafting and
And
resources.
what we got.
And it also brought the game to Xbox. In fact, with the release of Next in July 2018,
Now it's even a better
No
Minecraft
Man's Sky
than
was
before.
the 6th top-selling console game for the month. It climbed its way back into Steam's top 10. It reached nearly 100,000 concurrent players. It brought another $24 million.
When you go from
across
hero
all
to
platforms.
zero,
The
to
Steam
back to
rating went
zero.
from
That's
mixed
what the story
to
is
very
all about.
positive.
That's the
People
moral
were
of the
getting back
story.
on board in a big way. But they weren't done yet. Better creatures, weird underwater shit.
Underwater
Discoveries
stuff.
and bases and environments and equipment.
No.
And it keeps going. New biomes, more diversity, archaeology, more things to discover. By now, Sean and the gaming inspector, personification of the gaming community, had literally patched things up and were making out on the couch.
Okay.
Which was when he released his biggest patch to date of this video.
Oh my god, dude!
Free VR support.
Beyond.
Not a whole other game you have to pay for, like some titles. Overhauls to NPCs,
Cool.
tech trees, base building, streamlined multiplayer, ride animals around. All sorts of stuff that was never promised in the first place. And they're still adding more stuff.
Someone at Valve who was a fan
Damn,
of the game
Sean.
said to me,
You're
"What
a
you do
hero.
now is more
Now,
important
I
than what
guess.
you say. There's only one thing that's credible, and that's your actions."
In fact, I was so slow to get this video out that they
He
put out
was
another
smart.
patch the other day. With ship salvaging, ship upgrading, more advanced
Nice.
terrain editing, first-person exocrafts, improved VR, improved base building and inventory management, and quality of life stuff. It goes on. Is it perfect? Technically there are still things on the spreadsheet missing. But come on now, we're starting to nitpick. Especially when you compare them to relationships with other games companies. They could have gone the route of Fallout 76. Paywall
Right.
mods with Fallout first, charging a monthly fee, a downward spiral more and more into pay-to-win scraps released without QA testing.
Till it was
But
junk.
instead, they never added pay-to-win. They never added microtransactions or paid DLC. They never made VR as a
Battlefront
second
2.
game. They didn't give up on the game or scale their resources back to do it. They didn't come out and call all gamers entitled. They didn't add loot boxes. They didn't start work on the next big project or sequel. They didn't do much of anything except get back to work.
They
And
did what
just
we
like
wanted
that,
them to do.
The game once panned
Without
by
telling
critics,
us.
now
So it
had
didn't matter.
awards rolling in.
Your developed star 2019, No Man's Sky, Sean Murray.
No Man's Sky next.
No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's next.
No Man's Sky.
And to cap it all off, the subreddit No Man's Sky the Game even got together and pooled money for a GoFundMe to have a billboard installed near the Hello Games offices. It must have
That's
been
sweet.
a harrowing moment for Sean and the team. They took a huge risk to start a small studio. They clawed their way up to create one of the most notable games of the console generation. Disappointed pretty much everyone with the release. And took
True.
one of the biggest online beatings in video game history for it.
As a family, post-release, we faced some really difficult challenges. Everything that you can imagine from like the worst of the internet, we hit.
But then over the course of the next 3 years, completely turned it around and came out the other side with a win. It's the underdog story. And after doing all of this research, I couldn't help but come to the conclusion
Did
that
this-
they were the good guys.
Yeah, definitely.
So what
Did
is
this
the
video
future for
come out
Hello
in
Games?
2021?
In
I honestly
2017,
don't
they
know. I'm
announced
pretty sure
Hello
it did
Labs,
that, though.
a support program focused on original titles and games using procedural generation. Two of the team also branched off to work on a small title called The Last Campfire. But for the foreseeable future,
Never
they're
heard of
just
that one
working
before.
On No Man's Sky.
Hope you read that thing in the bottom
video on like a
hand
big
corner,
sappy note.
'cause I
So
saw it.
this is the end of the
Okay.
story, but there's still another few minutes. Don't leave. It's not an ad. Okay, in 2015, when the hype was at its peak, someone wrote a
Okay.
Sean Murray erotic fan fiction, and naturally, I assumed that you lot would want to see it. So here it is. My
Okay.
evening interview at Hello Games. I arrived at the Hello Games office in the early evening as the sun was approaching the horizon.
What?
Taking a deep breath, I nervously pressed the doorbell. The door opened, and Sean poked his expressive face out to greet me. "Hey you," he exclaimed in his adorable British-Australian accent. "I'm so happy you could make it and spend the evening with us." "I was so happy when I heard you agreed to let me come in for an interview," I said. "Oh yeah, the interview. I forgot," he replied with his usual brilliant humor. I laughed. "You're so funny, Sean. Let me show you my office." "I have a surprise for you," Sean said.
This is awful.
He led me to the room where we sat down on a soft vinyl couch. "So let me
I
show you
use the
surprise,"
fucking
he said
internet.
softly. "It's the newest build of the game. We just added some new features." He booted up the game on a PS4 in his office.
You know why the
I
world
stared
is
at his
terrible? You know why there's
"I like your
terrible
beard.
people on the internet doing
It's
terrible
sexy,"
things?
I pretended to say to
You know
him
how
in
I
my
know
head to
those
myself.
things? It's just...
I had a secret crush on him. There was something about his humble demeanor and feeble yet handsome bone structure that was so alluring. "So here's the game," he said eagerly. It opened on an alien world just calling out to be explored. I began to sweat. Here it finally was, in front of me in all of its glory.
My
and
erotic
it was
fan
being played
fiction.
by Sean in front of me in all of his glory. I nervously spoke. "Could I try playing?" I said. "Oh, I suppose, of course," he said, chuckling. But another few minutes passed without him handing me the controls. "Sean," I said more confidently. I put my hands on his hands as he gripped the controller. He looked me straight in the eyes.
How can you even read
I stared
this?
deep into his beautiful, glistening eyes, utterly transfixed. "Sure," he said. He let go of the PlayStation controller, still sweaty from his firm grip.
Ew.
"But I have another surprise to show you."
What the hell?
He stood up. "Mike,"
Redacted.
he muttered. "Yes, please," I said, blushing as red as the treetops of Aurea 5. He grabbed my shoulders, guiding me confidently towards the coffee table, like he confidently guides the Hello Games team towards the game's release. The one true Sean Murray, not that baby-faced loser asshole poser from NCIS. Made sweet, sweet love to me. I wasn't sure what I was more excited about. Finally,
Redacted.
Sean Murray, all finally playing No
Redacted
Man's
Sean
Sky.
Murray.
After exploring the planet's surface, I entered my spaceship and took off. Just as I left the atmosphere and burst into the breathtaking expanse of space.
Redacted.
It was an out-of-world experience. Oculus Rift support, he uttered sensually. As I turned, I saw Sean's avatar standing before me in a beautiful, procedurally generated spacesuit.
Why,
like what
my
you
Canadian
see,
friend?
he said.
Why would you make
It's
me watch
time,
this?
everybody, he shouted. I heard footsteps slowly enter from the cramped office.
No.
I soon saw many spacesuits appear before me in-game.
No.
But as they took off their helmets, I realized that they were all the same Sean Murray avatar.
What the
I was about to be
Redacted.
by a group of Sean Murrays, but they all had one difference.
Redacted.
Each
Redacted.
was different. There were wide ones, thin ones, long ones, curved ones. It was magical. As the Hello Games team began
The one with the vent in the middle.
in the room, I heard Sean whisper.
An unknown twist at
Every
the end.
Redacted.
Procedural. Also, I did a thing on the second channel. Please do check it out. I thought it was quite good. I love the videos on the second channel. It's some erotic
Internet
fanfiction
historian
that,
incognito mode.
And that's it. Sorry it took so long.
Well, that didn't make me feel any better. But yeah, this was definitely one of the better stories that I've watched about his Internet Historian, where actually it kind of had a happy ending. Usually they don't have very good endings. Usually they're about people who do really bad things and they suffer for it, for doing those terrible things, and mainly by video games and community and politics and stuff like that. But whatever, this was a good choice. This was a good choice. The ending was kind of weird, but that doesn't matter because the video's over, and basically he already said everything I wanted to say, and I don't really feel like mentioning it a third time because he literally said it 2 times in the entire video, and it's about an hour long. This is a really long one. Thank you for recommending this to me, Canadian YouTuber, and I will watch more, as always. Don't recommend me anything yet because I got another recommendation for 2 other videos I think Internet Historian did, so I'll watch those 2 before I go on to anything else. Not anything else on YouTube, any more Internet Historian, so. As always, I'm Anthropomorphic Nerd, and I'll see you in the next video, so, bye, I guess.